Is she? Mike asked. My dad didn't have a lot of details, but she's out of emergency and in a room. Sedated and semi-conscious. No surgery. Can you write down a couple of numbers? Can you keep your cell phone turned on so I can call you? With questions. That kind of thing? Of course, yes, Mike said. Give me numbers. Jack recited phone numbers for the hospital, Jack's father Sam, and Mel's old cell phone that they'd charge on their way to Sacramento and then carry with them. Do they have a suspect? Did she know the guy? I don't know anything except her condition. After we get on the road, get the phone charged, and we're out of the mountains and through the redwoods, I'll call my dad and see what he can tell me. Right now I gotta go. I gotta get down there. Right, Mike said. Okay. My phone will be in my pocket 24/7. I'll call the hospital, see what I can find out. Thanks. Appreciate it, Jack said, hanging up. Mike sat on the shoulder, staring at the phone for a long minute, helpless. Not Brie, he thought. Oh, God. Not Brie. His mind flashed on times they'd been together. A couple of months ago, she'd been in Virgin River to see her new nephew, Jack and Mel's baby. Mike had taken her on a picnic at the river, to a special place where the river was wide but too shallow for fishermen to bother. They'd had lunch against a big boulder, close enough to hear the water whisper by as it passed over the rocks. It was a place frequented by young lovers and teenagers, and that big old rock had seen some wonderful things on the riverbank. It protected many secrets. Some of his own, in fact. He'd held Brie's hand for a long time that day, and she hadn't pulled it away. It was the first time he'd realized he was taken with her. A crush. At 37, he felt it was an old man's crush, but damned if it didn't feel awfully like a 16-year-old's. When Mike met Brie for the first time a few years back, he'd gone to see her brother while Jack was on leave, visiting his family in Sacramento right before his last assignment in Iraq. Mike was oblivious to the fact that his reserve unit would be activated and he'd end up meeting Jack over there, serving under him a second time. Brie was there, of course, recently married to a Sacramento cop. Nice guy, so Mike had thought. She was a prosecutor for the county in Sacramento, the state capital. She was small, about 5'3", with long, soft brown hair that flowed almost to her waist, making her look like a mere girl. But she was no girl. She put away hardened criminals for a living. She had a reputation as one of the toughest prosecutors in the county. Mike had immediately admired her brains, her grit, not to mention her beauty. In his past life, before the shooting, he'd never been particularly discouraged by the mere presence of a husband. But they were newlyweds, and Brie was in love. No other man existed for her. When Mike saw her in Virgin River right after Jack's son was born, she was trying to recover from a painful divorce. Her husband had left her for her best friend, and Brie was shattered, lonely, so hurt. Mike immediately wanted to take her into his arms and console her, for he was hurting too. But Brie, crushed by her husband's infidelity, was determined not to put her heart on the line again. And she wanted nothing of a man, especially another player who'd had more than his share of women. A further complication? This was Jack's baby sister, of whom he was so protective it verged on ridiculous. And Mike was no longer a driven, devil-may-care Latino lover. He was a cripple. The body just didn't work right anymore. It had been only a couple of weeks since he'd last seen her. She had come back to Virgin River with the rest of her family to help erect the frame of Jack's new house. Preacher and his bride Paige were married in that frame structure the very next day. For a man who could barely walk 6 months ago, Mike had given Brie a fairly decent twirl around the dance floor at the wedding. It was a fantastic party, full of that good old country food, barbecue.